Today, I want to talk about the KT HLE playoff series over in the LCK. Simply put, KT absolutely draft kingdomed 3 games in a row, and these games are great examples of current draft blunders being made consistently by pro teams. Let's take a look. Also, 55% of you aren't subscribed. Hit that subscribe button, it really helps out the channel, and you can change your mind at any point in time if you want to. So game 1 starts with KT first picking Rakan. This is interesting because Kai'Sa and Tristana are both available, so not seeing one of those on B1 sets a different tone for the draft. The note for Rakan is that he does have multiple modes in the game. Most people view him as solely an engage champion, but he does have the ability to disengage and peel with his ultimate. Keep that in mind as we move forward in this draft. HLE first rotate Azir and Xayah, which says 2 things: scaling and anti-engage. These picks scale amazingly well and are great against champions that want to run into them, but cannot play against longer ranged poke. So, KT consider Rakan's disengage peel oriented mode and begin drafting long range artillery to negate Azir and Xayah's preference. Viego and Zeri, yes, are both very short ranged, but they both have modes of kite back and disengage fighting. HLE finished first phase with Poppy, yet another anti-engage champion, and a solid flex pick. It's not like HLE's picks here are horrendous, they're just completely theme countered by KT. They are for Renekton, which has no place here and is super random. So KT round out with Xerath and Ornn, which really makes their draft win Omegalodon level. The pure range here is just unmatched. On paper, what this will look like for KT is poke and long range engage from Ornn, then once they get an enemy member low, then Zeri and Viego can look for resets. It's super easy to execute here for KT. Whereas HLE with a Leona pick on R5 have a somewhat concrete identity with anti-engage, but again KT are never running into HLE here and can kill them from a screen away with no counterplay. Absolute giga draft win in game 1 for KT, and it will continue on throughout the series. Now game 2 is kind of switching roles with KT running the anti-engage comp, but again HLE plays into that strength, giving them no way to play the game. They B1 Rell, which already sets the theme of hard engage. It's a decent pick though, and a jungle support flex. So since Rell really only has one mode of going in, KT know that HLE will likely build a comp consistent with that theme, so they first rotate Azir and Poppy, 2 champs that thrive into hard engage and scale very well. HLE then take Tristana and Kai'Sa for more scaling, and presumably dive Kai'Sa with the established themes. KT finished first phase with Xayah, which is great here again for previously mentioned reasons. Through the first phase, HLE is hard engage and KT is anti-engage. Who do you think has the advantage here? KT are for Renata, which is great into the engage and short range. Very nice support blind here, assuming Rell is going jungle. HLE round out with Renekton and Amumu, 2 more short-ranged, hard dive champions that are playing exactly into what KT want. And then KT R5 with Viego, which is very good. People think Viego has to dive in to get resets, but a good Viego player will just chill on the outskirts of the fight and wait for the reset opportunity to come to him. He doesn't have to pursue it when it will come into his arms. Again, similar to game 1, KT have completely thematically countered HLE's comp. HLE's draft isn't bad, it's on theme and scales decently well with great 5v5 ability, but KT's comp is just too good into what HLE have drafted, so another huge draft win for KT in game 2. Now game 3 wasn't as hard of a draft diff as the previous 2, but still, HLE picked one champion that immediately lost them the game. They B1 Azir. I really don't understand why this champion is such high priority right now. There are so many mid laners that can match his scaling while also outranging him, like Xerath, Corki, and Syndra to a degree. Early pick Azir is super easy to draft around as well, as we saw in game 1. Anyways, KT first rotate Zeri and Kha'Zix. This is just kinda weird, and I don't know where they're going from here. Blinding Kha'Zix this early is dangerous with champs like Fiddle and Ivern still available. I don't know why they didn't just answer mid and pick jungle here, but maybe I'm just too smooth-brained to understand these pro coaches. Anyways, HLE second rotate Kai'Sa and Rakan, which is fine. So far, HLE's scaling is great, and they have long range, which is good into Kai'Sa and Zeri. KT finished first phase with Alistar, which is terrible. Like Azir, I don't understand the priority on this champion. I really think he's useless. Also, Zeri is best paired with an enchanter to buff her up, which the cow definitely does not do. Very confusing first 3 from KT. They are for Annie, which is very good. Super broken champion, and I don't know why she's fallen off a cliff, but either way, great pick from KT. HLE then round out with Aatrox, and wait for it, an absolutely huge Lee Sin pick. And all of a sudden, HLE go from hard winning the draft to instantly losing. The most Omegalodon useless champion in the game, yes, even more so than Nidalee. HLE have established a hard scaling and teamfight theme and then randomly throw a blind monk in their comp. It's horrible and makes no sense. They could have just taken Ivern and insta-won the game, but no, they wanted to handicap themselves. KT R5 counter with K'Sante, which I think actually loses into the Aatrox lane, but it'll probably scale fine. As I'm looking at this draft, even with the Lee Sin pick, I feel like HLE actually won, but KT probably just win because they're better mechanical players. The X Factor Kha'Zix pick can also have great influence this game because HLE's comp is such low CC. Anyways, through 3 games, KT hard draft capped HLE in the first 2, and game 3 was arguable either way. But the point remains, especially from the first 2 games, that draft themes and identities are of utmost importance. You don't only want to construct a comp with similar themes within, but also counters that of the enemy team. Great display from KT here, and whoever is HLE's drafting person should probably be fired or just watch this video. That could help too. Anyways, thanks for watching, see you next time.